Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Idaho Business Podcast, another episode with yours truly and these beautiful guests I've got here today. Dustin and the more beautiful one, Jessica Gaylor. These guys are owners. You probably recognize Dustin. He's been on the show. Was it last year, right? Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah.
And owner of Divine Window Solutions. And then just recently of last year, they also got into another company that they own as well called Frontline Defense Security Glazing. With all the increases of violence going around, there's not a better time to give some defense to your buildings. So this is what these guys are offering. So Dustin and Jessica, thanks for coming on the show, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Spencer.
Perfect. Before we begin, I always like to start with one of our sponsors is Lookout Credit Union. These guys are fantastic. They're locally Idaho credit union. Go to one of their branches, and if you mention the podcast, as you open up an account, they're going to give you a free swag bag full of some epic stuff. So you can find more information about that if you go to the wow, I can't even talk today, Dustin. The Idaho podcast. The Idaho Business Podcast.com. And you can look at my sponsors right there. So, and you can click on their hyperlink, and it'll bring you right to the page showing you the swag bag and all the good stuff. So, perfect. Dustin, Jessica, tell me what's all about this frontline defense stuff. What's it all about?
So last year, this was the beginning of last year. I was playing with the idea. We had always installed security film, which is just a very, very strong film with a very, very strong adhesive, mainly used for bomb mitigation, but it was used for a long time and still is to slow down attackers. And I was looking at differentiating our security stuff from our window film company and actually starting a security glazing company. And then right after that, a few months after that's when, unfortunately, the George Floyd riots started happening and the looting began. And I went out and started looking for a product that we can bring into our company and into our communities. And I stumbled upon Defense Light. And from the beginning, those guys are awesome. The product's awesome. We just became a dealer right away. Went out for our training, went to Atlanta, went to Arizona, brought the product back, and yeah, we've just been rolling ever since. So that's kind of how we got started in it. Then Jess came on with me in August, and she went to her training, and we've been able to actually come back to Idaho and come back to our communities and be kind of the security glass experts in our area.
I like it. So what I'm hearing is that you're just adding more and more value to your current customers. You started off with some window tinting, then you added some window cleaning, and now you're also offering more window accessories in the form of security glazing and protection. That's the big thing there, is that they all coincide. All these services that you're offering coincide with your original offerings. And it's just a good little marriage of services you've offered.
Yeah, so exactly.
Perfect. So Jessica, your original background is not in security glazing, I'm guessing, or window care.
Nope, not in window care, but Dustin's been in the business for over a decade, so he's been a very good instructor.
That's awesome.
She went from cattle, ranching,
corporate cattle, feedlots too. So I had a lot of managerial experience already. and operating experience. So that coincided pretty easily for me. It was just learning the new trade, which has been pretty fun.
I like it. Everyone has a different story. I was a fuel truck driver back in the day. Now, doing this, so I have a bunch of things that we've all come from and we've learned lessons from. So that's great. So, something that's just happened recently, Dustin, that's on my mind, and especially with your defense security glazing, unfortunately, the horrible event that happened at Rigby Middle School.
Yeah.
It's a terrible, terrible thing that happened, and our prayers go out to all those families that were affected. But what do you see more schools reaching out to you now? What's going on now?
Right now, after stuff like that happens, is very emotional, very intense. So we're actually being proactive and reaching out to the schools. I've already visited with 2 schools this morning. And what we're doing, Spence, is we're just coming in and educating our school staff and our educators on what we can provide as far as security, so they can be proactive. So when it comes time to be reactive, they can do it in the positive ways, not the negative ways.
Sure.
Security glazing, it's an unfortunate thing. And, if I could make it all go away, I would, but I can't. All I can do is show you how to secure your building. And with that said, when we look back on like other school shootings, let's take Sandy Hook, for instance, the door was locked. He went through a sidelight window. He shot it out and walked right through it. So what we're doing is we're taking the weakest part of the building or the school, let's say just the school, and we're hardening it to where we're making an invisible barrier that you do not know is there. So if an attacker was to come up to it, it's going to stop them in their tracks, and they're not going to know what to do. Security film was the way to go before. Security film, what it would do is it would buy you about 30 to 90 seconds tops before an intruder or an active shooter was inside of the building. It still gave first responders and law enforcement a time to get there, but with defense light, we're making it to where they're not getting through. They can shoot it, they can hit it, they can do whatever they need to at these front entrances, and they're not getting in. So it's literally just an invisible barrier that's going to protect our schools, protect our kids, and protect our educators.
I like it. It's also sickening that we even have to talk about this because we all have kids in school, and heaven forbid something like that happens. But you always have to plan for the worst and expect the best. So that's huge.
It's some of the most, and my voice shakes when I start talking about it, and I start thinking about my children, our children, in our schools, and it's some of the most uncomfortable conversations you can ever have, but we have to have them.
Yeah.
Our community, unfortunately, it's never happened here. So we've always kind of turned like a blind eye to it. It's always been in the back of our minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've never really been proactive about it. But now it's time to start having the conversations. Rigby happened. Our hearts are with those families, that school, the students, everyone in that community in Southeast Idaho. Let's start having the conversations now of where do we move forward? How do we harden our schools? How do we keep this from happening? Given Rigby was a different incident, from what I gather, the shooter was already inside of the school. But that shouldn't take away from what other proactive measures can we take in the future.
Correct.
So, and then we also have a bullet resistant product. So the first thing that came to mind with the Rigby shooting is, were there bullets flying? Were there stray bullets flying?
Yeah.
We have a bullet resistant product that's UL 752 rated. That means when it was rated, it was shot from 15 yards or 5 yards, 15 feet from the muzzle to the glass. So it's very, very strict, rigorous testing by the underwriters list. And we have that in 1 through 7. So, we were able to put that on like school classroom doors and other entryways that may need that. To where if an active shooter was in the school and the door was locked and they tried to shoot the glass or point a gun and get a bullet to go through the glass, that bullet resistant glazing is going to stop that bullet. So
well, that's fantastic. We got some stuff out there that'll definitely help. So, and I'm sure it's just not just for schools as well. There's other businesses that benefit from this as well.
Yeah, I mean, schools, government, we've done courthouses, jails, retail. Smash and grab was at an all-time high last year.
Yeah, that's reality right now.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just talk about, like, for instance, if you've read and seen some of the reports that I've read, like, let's talk for about, I can't say their name, but let's talk about a famous foot shoe store. We're talking like 30 seconds, dude. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of inventory gone like that. Grill gates, we all know that was kind of your go-to before. Dude, all they're doing is grinding the lock and freaking throwing these things up, and they're in, and then they're breaking through the glass and they're in the building.
Wow.
Defense Light gives you the ability to have 24/7 protection that's invisible. And it was tested all throughout last year. It was already on thousands of panes of glass. And still, the attacks are still happening in certain areas, but they're not getting through. I mean, we've seen everything. We've seen it shot at, hit with bricks, sledgehammers, crowbars.
Tried to light it on fire.
They tried using a blowtorch, dude, and it just wouldn't. You can't get through it.
They just moved on.
They just moved on because
amazing.
If we talk smash and grab, we're talking somebody who's trying to get in, get what they want, and get out. They're not going to sit there for 10 minutes trying to break through it.
And like I said before, it's sad that we have to think about this as business owners now, but especially even in Idaho, we feel like we're a pretty conservative area, and this stuff can't happen in Idaho. But yeah, we've learned that that's not true.
Well,
so we've got to be prepared. So that's interesting.
I grew up in Reno, Nevada, so I've seen it all. As far as like crime goes, I've lived in other larger cities. I've seen crime, and it's unfortunate. It's the uncomfortable conversation of, hey, we have a lot of growth coming in to Southeast Idaho. Idaho as a whole is growing, and it's growing at like a record pace. Unfortunately, what comes with that growth, the crime rates go up.
Yeah,
it's proven. It's proven statistic. There's no denying it.
Got some bad apples moving in with the good apples. So
exactly. So how do we? It's that conversation of how do you be proactive so you can be reactive in a positive way.
It's true.
But also proactive in the right way. So that's kind of why we want to have more conversations with schools and different businesses where this application could work great for them, because so many people seem to think that security film is the solution. And we've even had conversations with people where they put up the film and it wasn't even installed correctly. So, I mean, things like that, it's disheartening to see, because, they think, oh, well, we are being proactive. We've done the appropriate steps. And it's like, so there's a lot more to talk about.
So what she's referring to is when you apply a security film, it needs to be anchored.
Sure.
I've been in several schools, and this makes me so angry, because who did it should not have done it. They put security film on and they didn't anchor it. What that does is that security film holds all that glass in place. So let's pretend this is the glass, this is the film. Now it's bonded, it's in the door. I break through it, all it's going to do is fall over. So what I've created now is what we call a welcome mat. And it's dangerous, and when you're selling this kind of stuff, it needs to be done correctly. And so now it's having those conversations again with those schools, like, hey, we really need to bring this to the home plate and get this taken care of. So if something like this does happen, we can go to sleep at night, and you can go to sleep at night, and all the parents and students of that school can go to sleep at night and rest easy knowing that their school is protected correctly. And that was another reason of why Frontline came along. I started seeing this stuff and I was like, man, you got Joe Schmo down the street that's coming here selling this stuff and not even installing it correctly, and selling it's false security that he's selling.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.